The House will come to order. Members, our prayer today will be given by Yvonne Saxton. She is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority and a guest of Representative McClammy.
Good morning. Please bow with me. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you this morning just for traveling grace, where we traveled near or far. We thank you for your grace and mercy as we begin a day of advocacy for the members of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority in the great state of Alabama. We lift up all those in positions of government and authority, in particular the members of the Alabama House of Representatives before you. We ask that you grant them wisdom, discernment, and integrity in all their decisions. Surround them with sound counsel and help them to govern with justice, righteousness, and compassion for all people. Guide them to pursue peace and the common good above personal agendas. May their actions reflect true service to the community, and may they lead our great state of Alabama with courage and humility. In your name we pray, amen.
Members, today's Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Ariel Price. She is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority and a guest of Representative McClammy.
Salute, pledge. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Speaker, Albright, Baker, Barnes, Bedsole, Blackshear, Bolton, Boyd, Bracey, Brinyark, Butler, Carnes, Chestnut, Clark, Klaus, Collins, Colvin, Crawford, Crow, Daniels, Datcher, Drummond, DuBose, Easterbrook, Ellis, England, Ensler, Estes, Faulkner, Fiddler, Fincher, Fort, Garrett, Gidley, Gavan, Gibbons, Gray, Hall, Hammett, Harrison, Hassel, Hendricks, Hill, Hoke Jones, Hollis, Hulsey, Hurst, Ingram, Jackson, Jones, Keel, Kirkland, Lamb, Lands, Lawrence, Lee, Lipscomb, Lomax, Lovern, Marcus, McCampbell, McClammy, Mooney, Moore M, Moore P, Morris, Myricks, Nelson, Oliver, Paramore, Pascal, Pasco, Pettis, Pringle, Rafferty, Ream, Reynolds, Rigsby, Robbins, Robertson, Ross, Sellers, Sells, Shaver, Shaw, Shiree, Simpson, Smith, Sorrells, Stodhagen, Standridge, Starnes, Stringer, Stubbs, Tillman, Travis, Treadaway, Underwood, Wadsworth, Warren, Whit, Wharton, Wilcox, Wood R. Yarborough.
62 members haven't answered the roll. The quorum is present. The House is ready to transact business. The chair recognizes Representative McClammy for a special recognition.
Good morning. I'd like to ask for you to suspend the rules to allow. I'd like to request that we suspend the rules to allow Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Regional Director and others come to the floor.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, four privileges are granted. Representative McClammy, you are further recognized. Representative McClammy, you are recognized.
I would like to ask for permission for our Regional Director of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and others to enter the floor.
Four privileges have been granted.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask the clerk to read the resolution.
Clerk will read the resolution.
Whereas Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, an international service organization, is the oldest Greek letter organization established by African American college-educated women. It was founded on the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C. on January 15, 1908. And whereas 9 young charter members founded AKA on 5 original core tenets: to cultivate and encourage high scholastic and ethical standards, to promote unity and friendship among college women, to study and help alleviate problems concerning girls and women in order to improve their social stature, to maintain a progressive interest in college life, and to be of service to all mankind. And whereas Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority was successfully incorporated on January 29, 1913. And whereas since its founding in 1908, AKA membership has grown to include more than 390,000 initiated members and more than 1,105 graduate and undergraduate chapters located in 14 nations and territories. And whereas AKA is dedicated to implementing programs of service that enhance the well-being of local, national, and international communities. And whereas led by International President and Chief Executive Officer Danette Anthony Reed of Dallas, Texas, AKA is often hailed as America's premier Greek letter organization for African American women. And whereas, under Ms. Reed's leadership, 6 initiatives designed to improve the lives of those they serve have been implemented. Strengthen Our Sisterhood serves as a foundation initiative, strengthening the bonds within the sorority to support the service mission. The remaining 5 initiatives serve as program initiatives, which include empower our families, build our economic wealth, enhance our environment, advocate for social justice, and uplift our communities. And whereas these initiatives are designed to improve lives by working collaboratively, to maximize outreach on progressive endeavors, and to consistently produce leaders who will advance the credo of service. And whereas this legislative body recognizes the importance of partnering with civic and community-based organizations whose advocacy strengthens democratic engagement and public policy. And whereas today we welcome the sisters of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority and Dr. Tracy Morant Adams, who serves as the Southeastern Regional Director, a region which includes Alabama, Tennessee, and Mississippi, and encompasses 122 undergraduate and graduate chapters with over 14,000 active members committed to the mission and legacy of this illustrious and transformative organization. And whereas it is the desire of Dr. Adams, through continued dialogue and partnership between Alabama lawmakers and the Southeastern region of AKA, to work collaboratively to address issues impacting families and communities, including voting rights, economic empowerment, maternal health, and education equity. And whereas these engagements reinforce a shared commitment to advancing strategic legislation, elevating community priorities, and developing action-oriented solutions that promote equity, service, and sustained civic participation. Now therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the Legislature of Alabama that on February 12, 2026, we celebrate Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Day at the Capitol and express sincere appreciation for its continuing dedication to the community and to the great state of Alabama. This resolution is offered in deepest admiration and appreciation, along with sincere best wishes for continued success in all future endeavors.
All those in favor of adoption of the resolution say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. And welcome Alpha Kappa Alpha to the Alabama House of Representatives. Pleasure for you to be with us today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like let the members recognize the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated in our gallery. And I'd like to say thank you to our members who came with their pink and green today. And thank you for having our calendars in pink and green today also. Mr. Speaker, if I may have Madam Regional Director give remarks. I'd like to ask Madam Regional Director to give remarks. The Regional Director, Tracy Morant.
All in favor of allowing the director to speak, say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. You are recognized.
I introduce you today to our Regional Director of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated of the Southeastern Region, Mrs. Tracy Morant Adams.
Thank you so very much to the speaker and to the members of this great delegation here in the state of Alabama. Alpha Kappa Alpha, since 1908, on the campus of Howard University, has committed itself to rendering service to others, to building our communities, being a support to those who need us most. And certainly that is not a secret here in the great state of Alabama as we focus on advocacy for our people. We thank you so very much for allowing us to greet you this morning, and we look forward to walking the halls of the state capitol with you today. Thank you so very much again.
Thank you.
Representative Ensler? Where's Representative Ensler? There. Chair recognizes Representative Ensler of Montgomery for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, yesterday a member, special agent with the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, was shot in the line of duty. Fortunately, the shots are not life-threatening, and the reports are that he will be okay. But if you can just join me in a moment of silence and prayer for a full and speedy recovery for that Aaliyah special agent. Thank you, members.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Lee, Chairman Lovern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request that leaves of absence be granted for absent members.
Are there any objections? Hearing none, absent members are excused. Chair further recognizes the gentleman from Lee, Chairman Lovern.
Mr. Speaker, I have a report.
House of Representatives, your Standing Committee on Rules begs leave to report that it has carefully examined the Journal of the House for the 11th legislative day and finds the same to be correct. Signed, Representative Joe Lovern, Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the reading of the journal at length for the 11th legislative day be dispensed with.
Are there any objections? Hearing none, the reading of the journal is dispensed with. Chair further recognizes the gentleman from Lee, Chairman Lovern.
Mr. Speaker, I have one announcement. The Capitol Commission Bible Study will meet next Tuesday at 11 a.m. in room 602. And Mr. Speaker, I move that when we adjourn today, that we will leave the journal open to allow the clerk to complete his paperwork, and that we reconvene on Tuesday, February the 17th at 1 p.m.
All those in favor say aye. Ayes have it, and the motion prevails. Good job, Mr. Lovern. The clerk will now receive reports from the standing committees, and we'll receive those reports throughout the day. But the chair would like to recognize leadership south of the University of South Alabama in the gallery. Please stand and be recognized. Welcome to the Alabama House of Representatives. The House is now in a position for the introduction of bills and resolutions.
House Joint Resolution number 92 by Representative Marcus, commending Dr. Bradley Heim, ND, for his service to Enterprise Women's Center.
Move for adoption.
All in favor say aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. Here.
House Joint Resolution number 96 by Representative Robertson, recognizing Alabama Army National Guard Staff Sergeant Ronald Wayne Hurst upon his retirement.
Move for adoption.
All in favor say aye. All opposed, ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
House Joint Resolution number 97 by Representative Ingram, recognizing the second Sunday in September as Louis Vuitton the Pitbull Day.
Move for adoption.
All in favor say aye. All opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution's adopted.
House Joint Resolution Number 99 by Representative Pascal, recognizing the 43rd Alabama State Games opening ceremony as it honors the 250th birthday of the United States of America and honors Alabama heroes and their descendants.
Move for adoption.
All in favor say aye. All opposed, the ayes have it, the resolution is adopted. The clerk will call the first uncontested local bill on the calendar.
On page 51 of the calendar, House Bill number 365 by Representative Wood, relating to Talladega County.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 64 yeas, no nays, and the BIR is adopted. Question for the body's final passage of the bill. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 13 yeas, no nays, the bill passes. Clerk, call the next uncontested local bill.
On page 52 of the calendar, House Bill number 383 by Representative Lamb, relating to Tuscaloosa County.
Question for the body's adoption of the BR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 60 yeas, no nays. The BR is adopted. Question for the body now is final passage of HB 383. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 17 yeas, no nays. HB 383 passes. Clerk, call the next bill on the calendar.
On page 51 of the calendar, House Bill number 384 by Representative Bolton, relating to Tuscaloosa County.
Question for the body's adoption of the BR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 59 yeas, no nays. The BR is adopted. Question for the body's final passage of HB 384. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 14 yeas, no nays. The bill passes. Clerk, call the next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 51 of the calendar, House Bill number 385 by Representative Bolton, relating to Tuscaloosa County.
Question for the body's adoption of the BR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 57 yeas, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote on final passage. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 14 yeas, no nays. HB 385 passes. Clerk, call the next bill on the calendar.
On page 51 of the calendar, House Bill number 386 by Representative Ingram, relating to Elmore County.
Question for the body's adoption of the BR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 50 yeas, no nays. The BR is adopted. Question for the body's final passage of HB 386. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. HB 386 passes. Clerk will call the next bill on the calendar.
On page 51 of the calendar, House Bill number 371, a constitutional amendment by Representative Paramore, relating to Pike County.
Question for the body's adoption of the BR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 61 yeas, no nays. The BR is adopted. Question for the body is passage of HB 371. Again, this is a constitutional amendment. The clerk will unlock the machine and record the vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 65 yeas, no nays. Now we vote on local application. The clerk will unlock the machine, and again, this takes 63 affirmative votes. Clerk will unlock the machine. We need 63 votes. Okay, now, all right. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes. 63 yeas, no nays. The local application passes. The chair recognizes the gentleman for Lee, Chairman Lovren, for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I have a resolution.
Clerk will receive the resolution.
House Resolution Number 114 by the House Rules Committee, the Special Order Calendar.
Move for adoption.
All in favor say aye. All opposed? The calendar is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members.
Clerk called the first bill in the special order calendar, and the chair recognizes Representative Wilcox.
On page 32 of the calendar, House Bill Number 243 with substitute by Representative Wilcox relating to crimes and offenses.
Thank you for the recognition, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this could be the most important bill of my career, so I'd like for y'all to notice I passed out a flyer for you to look at explaining it because it's a little out of my wheelhouse. HB 243 modifies the charges for driving under the influence and causing death. It eliminates Class C felony and makes it a Class B felony. It upgrades leaving the scene of the accident from a Class C felony to a Class B felony. It grants judges the power to award restitution. And as a matter of fact, in 2001, the Court of Criminal Appeals asked the legislature to amend this law to prevent inequities such as this from occurring in the future. Keep that in mind. In 2001, the Court of Criminal Appeals asked us to amend this law. So, Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of the BIR.
Question for the body is adoption of the BR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the vote, the machine, and record the vote. 98 yeas, no nays. The BR is adopted.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I have a committee substitute. The last name of John Wesley Holt was inadvertently left off. It's a clerical correction. The bill will be named the Devaney Rooney and John Wesley Holt Safe Streets Act. I move to adopt the committee substitute.
Question for the body's adoption of the substitute. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members, oh, I'm sorry, the chair recognizes Representative Gavan of Jefferson.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to rise. Wilcox didn't go into a lot of deliberations about those individuals or an individual who child was killed by the person that was drunk. But I had asked her to open it up, but I know she's going to have to sub. But I shared with her I would say something that I thought this was a good bill. On most days with this member, most of the time I'm on the phone with them when they're sometimes at the cemetery or when those rough patches come. So I know what impact something like this has had on a family member or someone in this body. So I just want to thank you for bringing this legislation. I hate we cannot sign on as co-sponsors, but I just wanted to commend you for your actions. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I sincerely hope, and I thank all the members, and especially you and the Judiciary Committee and others that have helped me move this through the legislature. So I can't thank you enough. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Question for the body's adoption of the sub. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 103 yeas, no nays. The substitute's been adopted.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to substitute Senate Bill 169. I have Senator Sessions here, who's also worked very, very hard on the passage of this legislation. The identical bill has passed the Senate, so I would like to ask to substitute SB 169 since they are now identical with that committee substitute.
Question for the body's adoption of the Senate substitute. All in favor say aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. The substitute's been adopted.
Okay.
Clerk will please call the Senate bill.
On page 50 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 169 by Senator Sessions relating to crimes and offenses.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR on SB 169. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 102 yeas, no nays. The BIR is adopted. The question for the body now is final passage of. Chair recognizes Representative Bracey of Mobile.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the recognition with the lady yield.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, and also Senator Sessions, for bringing this legislation. I did see it on the news at home. I'm always concerned when we start increasing penalties, and I'm just trying to get a better understanding of what that looks like. Because on paper, when we say we're going from here to here, you know, it's just on paper. But can we kind of have a discussion of what those penalties look like? And one of the things that kind of stand out to me, and God knows I hate this happen, we're talking about after the fact in some of this. And after the fact doesn't change the horrible thing that happened. So, for instance, if a person did a hit and run and they still was caught, it didn't change the fact that the hit and run happened and, you know, the horrible event that happened at that moment. Whether they stayed or left, that horrible thing still happened. And I could understand about, you know, making sure that they're charged with, I think it's manslaughter at that point.
Well, if I could answer that, the horrible thing is that on some of these instances, they're driving under the influence, but the most egregious part of this is that our Alabama law almost incentivizes you to not render aid and to leave the scene of the accident because you face more penalties if the person is injured than, in fact, if they died and they were killed. So
Kind
that's
of
what
explain
we're
it to
trying
me
to
because I
correct.
don't quite understand that part.
Right now, they face more penalties if someone is injured than they are if someone dies,
Okay.
especially if
And-
they're under the influence. And then under the influence, it's hard to charge them with that if they've left the scene of the accident.
Okay, so does this bill enhance penalties in two different situations, or is it one?
Two.
Okay,
And
let's kind of go.
I'll
through
share
it.
this with you.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't know what this was. So let's.
And
go
if you
over
read
two
the back of it, it also kind of goes into more detail.
Well, if you will, as a sponsor, if you would just kind of tell me about it a little bit, because I don't think anybody else is going to probably speak on it. So I just want to be clear on it before I vote. I know we're talking about two different things. We're talking about a manslaughter charge, and then we're talking about upgrading or leaving the scene of an accident charge.
Right. And, you know, as you know, the law is not my strong suit, but on creating this. But right now, they do face more penalties if they injure someone than if they actually killed it. So on the first part of it, a DUI resulting in death is included as sentencing enhancement in the criminally negligent homicide statute, making it a Class C felony.
Okay, let's pause it. So a Class C felony, what are the penalties for that? What's the punishment range for a Class C felony?
Well, I'm going to have to ask one of my more learned members of the legislature, especially somebody from the Judiciary Committee, to help me out on that.
Okay. Because I'm thinking if we're going to vote to increase these penalties, we need to know what ranges we're doing. You know,
Well, this
and
bill
I'm not
was-
sure.
Yeah,
I'm not
this
a
bill
lawyer
was
either.
thoroughly
I'm not-
vetted by the committee and got a unanimous vote out of the judiciary.
I
We did
understand.
have
I
our
understand.
district
So it's-
attorney, Keith Blackwood, came and presented the particulars of the law.
Okay.
And
So we don't know what a Class C felony penalty is?
I don't actually have that, the actual, what the penalties are. No, I don't have that in my notes.
What about the Class B? Because this would be moving from a Class C to a Class B.
Thank you. A Class B felony is a prison sentence from 2 to 20 years, fines up to $30,000, and that's for manslaughter, first-degree assault, certain drug trafficking offenses, and first-degree burglary. Class C felony is less severe than this. It's 1 year and 1 day to 10 years, fines up to $15,000. And the horrible example is that I have two families right up here that both criminals that killed their children only served 6 months in jail. So that's what we're going to correct.
Okay. So why did they only serve 6 months? Was that I'm trying to understand where the issue. So for instance, if we're looking at 2 to 20 or 1 to 10, it seems like the judge would, if I was the judge, I would have probably given a 10-year sentence. How in the world would a person that commit and act like this end up getting released in 6 months when that's even under the minimum for a Class C felony? Like, you would have to at least serve a year and a day for a Class C felony, up to 10 years, and then they turn around and get released in 6 months. So what happened there? Who dropped the ball on that? Because it appears to me that the law that was in place should have kept that person should still be in jail today.
I agree. They should have gotten far more than 6 months. But what was going on in the judge's mind, I can't speak to that.
So do we feel that by increasing the penalties that, I guess, the judge in a situation like this would make sure that they hold these people accountable? And I guess where I'm going is we're continuing to make laws to hold people accountable, but evidently somebody else is not. Because the law that was in place should have made sure that this person had
It's
a lot more
a lesser
time.
charge. You know, that's what's horrible about this. It's just a lesser charge. And the third part of the bill is that the judges were unable to give restitution.
Restitution
So this,
to the family?
this changes that, where the judge has the discretion to award restitution as well. Because some of these parents, I mean, they've got to bury these children. They've had
Right.
nothing from the person that killed them. There was no avenue to get them to help bury their children.
Right, and I agree. And I knew it was something about the story when I saw it on the news, and I was trying to think. So I support the increase in the penalties. I think people need to be held accountable. This is a horrible thing that happened. And the thing that stuck out to me was, under existing law, the person never should have been released in the first place. And how did that person get released? And what can we do to close that type of loophole?
We can pass this bill this morning, right now.
I'm talking about to close the loophole because the law was already in place. I'm saying, what can we do to close the loophole to make sure that once we pass this law, that people actually get 2 to 20 and not 6 months? Where before, people should have been getting a year and a day up to 10 and did 6 months. Like, what can we do to make sure that people are not getting early release on these felony charges?
Well, what this body can do is pass this bill.
Maybe you're not understanding my question. Do I need to repeat it again?
You can, but what I'm saying is I don't know what this body can do beyond this bill. This bill has been
All I'm
talked
saying
about,
is
deliberated, and this is what I was told was the avenue. I'm not a judge. I'm not an attorney. I'm a person that met these parents and have met
I
other
understand.
parents.
I understand
such
that.
as
I'm not
Representative Alan Treadaway,
disputing.
his family suffered the same fate.
I'm not disputing that at all. All I'm saying is, how can we make sure that the laws that we pass in this body are held accountable across the board to make sure that people are not getting these early releases like they are in this particular instance? Because we need to make sure that this is more than just on paper. We need to make sure that there's teeth with this to make sure that nothing like this happens again. And I'm just asking, from your professional opinion, what do you think we can do to make sure, do we meet with the judges? Like, what do we do to make sure that nothing like this happens again?
Well, we passed this law, and then we assume that the office of the courts and the judges will honor and respect the wishes of the body, this body.
Okay. And do we know why the person was released early?
There was two, one of them, the available charges weren't there to keep them in jail, and then there's some concurrency, but no, as to knowing the particulars of what was going on in the judge's mind, I don't know.
So when the person left, did they actually have them on a DUI?
Pardon me?
So when they left, that took away the option of them getting them on a DUI? Is that?
Yes, that it impedes. Right now, our law incentivizes people to leave the scene of the accident and not render aid.
Okay. All right. I'm going to support the bill. I just wanted more clarity on it because when I saw the news story, it was kind of, it didn't give a clear explanation to why the person had an early release. So
The gentleman's time has expired. The chair recognizes Representative Jackson of Clark.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the recognition. Just a couple questions. I want to commend the lady for bringing this legislation, but I'm kind of like my colleague, a 6 month sentence for such a heinous crime.
I do have the answer that one of them, he was only be able to be charged leaving the scene of the accident. When you leave the scene of the accident, they aren't able to test you for DUI.
So that's already in law, right? Leaving the scene of accident.
And that was the only charge. They couldn't.
The only charge
driving
they
under
gave
the
that
influence.
young man was. So this is going to fix that problem.
Yes,
Hopefully.
it is my greatest hope and prayer that we pass this today, and this fixes the problem where we don't incentivize people after they've killed somebody or hit somebody. Now we hope if they can't do it with humanity and what's in their heart, that maybe the law can make them think twice and make them think about stopping and rendering aid. In the case of John Wesley Holt, that driver got out of his car and looked at John Wesley suffering on the road and then got back in his car and left the scene of the accident.
See, this is what.
He got 6 months for that.
Yeah.
He saw their child dying in the street.
See, this is what troubling me. It's all about status, who you are. If a person by no name had done this, they'd have got more time, but maybe this person had.
What do you mean by status? I'm sorry, I'm misunderstanding that.
In the community, name recognition, a family recognition, a person of that nature. Then the judge.
But there's so many.
I know.
There's so many that, these are,
But they're not
these are two
following
people
the
in
law.
my
They're
district.
doing their own thing.
My district. This is two people in my district.
I hear-
Senator Sessions' district. This is personal.
I hear
My
you.
daughter went to school with John Wesley Holt. The Rooneys, their promising daughter was 2 weeks away from graduating high school, and had
I'm with
promises
you.
like
I'm with
that.
you. But I'm trying to say some of the things that why people get light in the sentence because they know the judge and the judge know the family and all this stuff. But this will eliminate that, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm saying. Because I've known this to happen. Some people do the thing and they get penalty.
Yes, you
then
do.
some
Representative
do it and get-
Treadaway is one of those.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing this bill. I support you 100%. Thank you.
Questions for the body is final passage of SB 169. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted?
Yeah, add me.
Clerk will lock the machine. 102 yeas, 0 nays. SB 169 passes.
If I may have a moment of personal privilege, please. I thank the members and the Speaker for the passage of this bill. I realize I cannot add co-sponsors to a Senate bill, but I really do want to thank all the members that helped through getting this bill through the legislative process. And Mr. Speaker, I'd like to recognize the family of Devaney Rooney.
I'll do it. You can't do it from the well. Chair would like to recognize the family of John Wesley Holton, who are visitors in the gallery today. Please stand.
The Rooneys, stand up too. Yeah.
We would like to welcome you to the Alabama House of Representatives and tell you how sorry we all are for your loss, but you've made something good out of a tragedy. Representative Wilcox.
And finally, Representative Treadaway asked me to convey what this bill means to him and his family. His daughter, Kelsey Treadaway, was killed, and her killer left the scene of the accident and did not render aid. So I'd like for us to memorialize with a moment of sadness and prayer Representative Treadaway's daughter, Kelsey, and of course, John Wesley Holt and Devaney Rooney. Thank you, body. May they rest in peace. And thank you so much for the help on this bill.
The clerk will call the next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 26 of the calendar, House Bill number 26 by Representative Butler, relating to sex offenders.
Chair recognizes Representative Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, members. This bill is the exact bill we passed last year with no opposition. It deals with sex offenders where the crime has involved a child, and it's not a shall, it's a may. The parole officer, the judge may implement several things. They could restrict cell phone use that has access to the internet, video games, and the judge or the pardons and parole can actually order sex treatment and possibly polygraph examinations. The states that have added the polygraph have seen recidivism drop dramatically, and this legislation has passed a number of states. But with that, I move for the BIR.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 101 yeas, no nays. The BIR is adopted.
I move for final passage, please.
Question for the body's final passage of HB 26. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 103 yeas, no nays. HB 26 passes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Clerk, call the next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 25 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 30 by Senator Woods, relating to civil procedure.
Chair recognizes Representative Faulkner.
Members, this is the same identical bill we passed out earlier unanimously, remembering Trey Carlock Phillips, Trey Carlock. His sister Elizabeth Phillips brought this bill to me, and this is involving agreements, non-disclosure agreements, where you cannot prohibit someone from talking about the act of sexual abuse. And that is what the bill does. We've already passed my exact version of this out. And so just want to give thanks to Elizabeth Phillips for bringing this bill to Matt Woods and myself. And this is, very important and that we do this so that sexual assault victims are not kept quiet about the terms of their sexual abuse. And appreciate Senator Woods and all your work on this bill. But with that, I would move for the BIR.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 104 yeas, 0 nays. The BIR is adopted.
If there's no questions, Mr. Speaker, I'd move for final passage.
Chair recognizes Representative Jackson of Clark.
Again, thank you for the recognition. I want to commend the gentleman, great bill, and I just hope that on the national level that we will have this same attitude about sexual abuse and stop hiding, not covering it up, but opening it up, be transparent enough that we can get these pedophiles and abusers off the streets, that we can do the things that we need to do to continue to make our nation and states better. Thank you for bringing this. Thanks.
Thank you, Representative.
Chair recognizes Representative Gavan of Jefferson.
So this is just the Senate version.
That's right.
No amendments, no sub upstairs, not one word changed. They took the exact version that passed out the House.
We talked about that when we did the House, same version.
Okay, now it ain't because we talked about it, it's because who the carrier is now. You know, I have to keep my good eye on you, Faulkner. But I have problems with the bill. They're no different than what I had earlier. I wish that you all would have talked with the Center for Alternative Dispute Resolution here in the state because of those who do practice law and who are certified mediators. One of our roles when we are certified in that is that we negotiate those types or certain types of agreements. I'm not sure, how many are negotiated deals that deal with, sexual assault. Right now in this country, we're dealing with Jeffrey Epstein. We're dealing with a president who was in the presence when a man would sexually abuse children. But we're bringing this bill because we said we're going to ward off suicide, and I said this is not going to stop anyone from taking their life. I don't condone the behavior of anyone. But we need to deal with mental illness here in the state of Alabama, and we need to bring more bills that will impact or have a greater impact in the area of mental health and build upon that type of scenario versus us coming here naming a bill. And you know what, I say this all the time, it doesn't matter if you're DRR, I don't care if you're red, white, purple, pink, or blue, even down to naming these bills, but at the end of the day, there are unintended consequences that come to other people eventually that far outweighs. And again, my condolences to the family. This is not about that. Don't write me, don't text me, don't tweet me, don't email me, don't put me on TikTok, because that's not what this is about. This is about someone who is in the practice of law, who sits down to negotiate these deals. And I don't know how many lawyers that are out there are literally putting together NDAs with regards to sexual abuse. And again, I still say I really wish in this circumstance that you all, or you, Faulkner, being a lawyer, would have at least spoken to Eileen at the center or the bar about this type of legislation that we are putting in place for this purpose. Again, my condolences to the family. It's a heartbreaker, and especially any young person or anyone who commits the act of suicide. But again, I think we need to begin in this body addressing the bigger elephant in the room, and that is what can we do better in this state to assist those with mental illness, with the cost of therapy and therapeutic measures that can be taken with and by a clinician, because many people who have mental illness, they don't have the wherewithal to go to some of the facilities to seek help. So my whole thing, those who commit pedophilia, I've said it day one, they should be castrated. I'm not gonna back off of that, because I feel anyone that hurts a child who is not able to speak and think for themselves and to take the innocence of the young, bring the bill, I'm signing off on it day one. But in this instance, I'm not sure if it solves the problem. I know it will bring comfort to the family, and I wish and I bid them God's peace in this matter. I know that's a long road ahead and to recovery. I have friends that have lost children to suicide. I've been there, done that. I've been in the room when a family member finds their child that they haven't spoken to in a couple of days, and they were dead, body decomposing and all of that. So that's nothing I'm saying relates to anything other than I just think we need to strengthen. So hopefully, since you're bringing this piece of legislation, maybe in the next quadrennium, you will look at some things that will go further or take a step or two further in bringing about more remedial measures with regards to this issue in the area of mental health. You just sitting here shaking bobblehead now, wait a minute, it looked like you would be saying okay.
Did you, I didn't know you asked me a question.
Yeah, I said hopefully that you will, but you just, even with that, you just standing there. I mean, I understand, that's how y'all do down here. Because y'all got the votes, you got all the power. So, I mean, I understand. And y'all basically tune us out when we come up here anyway, either with a nod or... So, hey, at the end of the day, the bill is what it is. Again, my condolences to the family, but this bill is not going to do anything to stop anyone from taking their lives, period. And I think we need to look deeper into why people commit suicide. And that NDA, I wasn't there, but there were issues that's deeper than an NDA, and that's my thought on it.
Chair recognizes Representative Moore of Jefferson.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I ask my original question, did you understand what the representative was talking about? So is this bill, does it have something to do with someone committing suicide in a response to that?
Yes, ma'am. So Trey Carlock, who the bill is named for, was a young man that was sexually abused when he was at camp, at summer camp. And it happened, there were multiple times that he was sexually abused. And he signed a disclosure agreement, a non-disclosure agreement.
Hold on, but I thought your bill had something to do with 911 calls?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay, so that's the wrong one. You're dealing with sexual abuse.
Yeah, this is the bill, Ms. Moore, that my bill was identical. We passed it out about 2 weeks ago.
Right.
In the Senate. So
This is the Senate?
this is the Senate version, yes, ma'am. And so what this does is it prohibits, as a matter of public policy in the state of Alabama, any agreement that prohibits an individual or entity from disclosing an act of sexual abuse or facts related to the acts of sexual abuse. You can still enter into agreements. You can still have agreements.
But if they prevent the person from disclosing.
But they cannot, going forward, they will not.
Forward.
Going forward, yes, ma'am.
How far forward?
From now on.
I just wonder, because we got, we have some lot of high profile people that were prevented and still are being prevented from talking about sexual abuse.
Well, and this is about the facts. If you enter into an agreement with someone, you can't stop the victim from being able to talk about the acts and the facts of sexual abuse. That's why this young man took his life.
So let me ask you this.
So we do feel like this will keep people from that happening.
How would your bill come? What do we have on a national level to do the same thing?
State by state. This is clearly a state by state criminal.
So do you think at some point we might have something, because if all of these states pass this bill to make sure that you protect the victim, that eventually we get something on a national level?
Well, I don't know if Congress will do, I don't know what they will do, but I think this is...
Because I would suspect that if you know that, say if a person files a complaint and it goes through the process of even going to the state Supreme Court and still is not settled and they try to take it further, then it gets to a national level. Then because they don't have anything to address the situation currently, then what do you think will happen then?
So this would not be this is a strictly an Alabama law, and there is a movement. Elizabeth Phillips is leading that movement for her brother that she lost. And she was in, I think, another state yesterday. And so this is going to each state, but it needs to be done on a state-by-state basis because this is
but no, we still need something on a national basis too. See, I understand all of this state rights stuff that's going on, which is good, but then we need something on a national basis because what I've observed here in this legislature since 2010, many bills that we passed in the past, since the controlling parties here, they go back and they reword them. So as you get different legislators, they might decide in the future that maybe they want to repeal or add to or take away from what you're doing now. That's why I think it's so important in many cases that we have something on a national level that we hope will stand, the test of time. But I can understand where you're coming from on this. And not only for the bill, the person the bill is named for, but I know we've had the same situation in our community. But unfortunately, when it happens in some ethnic and racial group communities, there's no response from the state legislature. So I guess we have to be grateful to this young man's family that is being responded to at this point in time.
Yeah, they were out of Texas.
Yeah. So I guess, it has to be certain people because this is not a unique thing that has happened anywhere in the United States. But I guess at this point in time, different states are responding, but I do think we need to make it a national effort too. So since you're sponsoring this, I'm hoping that you're on board with also being part of the group that will sponsor it, so that our Congress will take it up on a national level so that we'll get an even broader protection for the victims.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, I would, but I think the better approach is going to be to go to each state because I don't see Congress doing much anything.
Well, see, we have to make Congress do something. And even though I understand the states, but we have a movement on state rights now where every state think that they could do what they want to do. Because, the Constitution say those things that are not specifically outlined go to the state. And I think now with the movement that every state addresses issues the way that they want to address it, it does not allow us to have something that's consistent across the board. So, if this is something that means a lot to you, and I'm certain it means a lot to this young man's family, then by the same token, and right now you all have control of Congress, so maybe this might be a movement that your party would put in place so that we will have a national piece of legislature that would go across the country to address the issue. And I think that would be even a better foot forward in it, and it backs up what each state does.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your comments.
Question for the body's final passage of SB 30. The clerk will lock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 105 yeas, no nays. SB 30 passes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members.
Clerk, call the next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 26 of the calendar, House Bill number 189 by Representative Baker, relating to juvenile proceedings.
Chair recognizes Representative Baker of Escambia.
Thank you for the recognition, Mr. Speaker. Members, this is the exact bill that we passed out of the House last year. It also moved forward to pass out of the Senate Judiciary Committee. It did not make it across the finish line as many bills got held up there at the end of the session in the Senate late last session. This is a bill that requires juvenile court to notify school officials for a juvenile delinquent only for the most serious of crimes, that being murder, rape, and sodomy. And that way school officials can accordingly then take appropriate actions to try to protect that juvenile that might be accused of such crimes and such. With that then, Mr. Speaker, then I would move for adoption of the BIR.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote.
Thank you.
Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 103 yeas, no nays, and the BIR is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With that, Mr. Speaker, I would move for final passage.
Question for the body's final passage of HB 189. The clerk will lock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 102 yeas and 2 nays. The bills pass.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, members of the body.
Clerk will call the next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 15 of the calendar, House Bill number 282 with substitute by Representative Hill relating to Board of Pardons and Paroles.
The chair recognizes Representative. Representative England of Tuscaloosa.
On the parole board for a very long time without being confirmed first. So it changes the calendar so it kind of syncs it up just a little bit better. And there's a substitute, and I just explained what that is. So at this, so I'll move for the BR.
Question for the body's adoption of the BR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 103 yeas, no nays. The BR is adopted.
And I just, what I explained was the substitute, which is, again, the bill essentially changes the appointment date. So when somebody's appointed to the parole board, they don't serve a very long time without being confirmed by the Senate. So with that, I'm move for adoption of the substitute.
Question for the body's adoption of the substitute. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 104 yeas, no nays. The substitute's been adopted.
And no further questions. I move for final passage.
Question for the body is final passage of HB 282 is substituted. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 105 yeas, no nays. The bill passes. Clerk, call the next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 14 of the calendar, House Bill number 250 by Representative Garrett relating to individual income taxes.
Chair recognizes Representative Garrett of Jefferson.
Thank you for the recognition. Congress passed and the President signed into law the One Big Beautiful Bill Act in July of 2025. This bill will align Alabama with the provisions of that act that would make exclusions of employer payments to an employee or lender for principal or interest on any qualified education loan payment permanent, and would also create a new exclusion to enable amounts paid by an employer as a contribution to these accounts of an employee or an dependent as part of a plan will not be taxed twice. In other words, what this will do will exempt from Alabama taxes contributions to these new accounts that were set up under the bill. That asks for the BIR.
Chair recognizes Representative Moore of Jefferson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
So is this account you talking about is the same thing as the Trump account?
These are the Trump accounts, that's correct.
So we got a Trump account that's associated with education.
Well, the Trump account basically is that every child born, do you know what every child born between January 21st of 2025 and December 31st of 2028 will receive $1,000.
That's the Trump account.
That's every child born in that period gets a Trump account.
But that's the Trump account. Why is it called a Trump account?
I can't tell you that.
You can't. And you
Congress-
carrying the
it's
bill?
Congress
You
passed.
ain't do no research on that to figure out
Congress names their bills
how we get the Trump account associated with children.
because the Trump account is the purpose of the Trump account is to provide a seed money for investments for children.
A whole $1,000?
Well, what happens if you can contribute every year up to $5,000 without it being taxable at the federal level.
Okay.
We're just trying to make sure none of this gets taxed at state level. But let me give you some numbers.
Before you give me some numbers, tell me how it could be used.
Okay. Well, it can be used for a variety of things, for home purchases, for college education, for...
So that $1,000 up to $5,000 can be used when the person is being terminated from the job.
Well, what happens if you get this money, $1,000,
a whole $1,000,
and you don't do any contributions?
Right.
When you're 18, you have $6,000. That child. Okay. When you're 20, if you did $250 a year, you would have $19,000 at 18.
And they can use that for all these
reasons. If you did $5,000 a year, you'd have $271,000 a year. But if you
Mr.
play this
Garrett,
thing on out, this could be
Garrett,
this could grow.
all that's fine. But at the rate we're going now, we're losing jobs and other opportunities in education.
Right.
Where that child, when they reach of age that maybe they want to use these funding, they won't be able to use it anyway at the rate that we're going. But I guess it's good that Mr. Trump, after he cutting out everything else, is thinking that this little money is going to help when a person doesn't have the wherewithal to be able, if he wanted to purchase a home, may not have a job, may not have had a quality education because we don't have a U.S. Department of Education. It's been doled out over everywhere else. I think that maybe it's a step in some direction, but if you don't have the other foundational factors that need to go along in order for these young people to be able to use it, I think it's to naught. You know, if we're going to make sure that this happens, let us go back and look at all the other things, opportunities that have been taken away from these same young people that we're trying to look out for. I think that's my biggest concern. We could put this in place on one hand, but all of the other things that need to be in place to allow those young people to be able to benefit from this will be removed and have been removed. Yeah. So the chances of the masses of young people being able to benefit is growing lower and lower every day because of the other things that are being taken away, their opportunities to be able to reach out for this. I think that's my biggest concern. And we could fight to put one thing in place, but if they would never have the opportunity to take advantage of it because we're not looking at the other factors that are also needed in order for them to benefit from it, we're not making sure that those situations are stabilized either.
Understood. There are, a lot of Americans do not have stocks. They have investment in.
Tell me about it.
Exactly. So this will actually introduce people to that opportunity, to that market. They will be hopefully understand
it might,
how that work. It might work. But the point is, these accounts are going to happen. And right now, we don't want them to be taxed in Alabama. We want the money to stay in those accounts.
And they probably will stay in there for a good while.
Well, they'll grow if they do, because if you, at age 55, if you put no contributions, you got almost $250,000.
But if I ain't had nothing else until I get to age 55, chances are we don't have a good health care and be dead anyway.
Well, I understand.
But I think that we do have to look at other people, the other factors in a person's life to make sure that they be able to benefit from what you're doing. I think the process is good, but we also have to look at other things to help a person be able to benefit from it. I don't know if anybody would wait to that age if they could benefit before they tap into it, because other opportunities have already been taken away from them. But we need to make sure we show up the whole person rather than just part of that person. We have to be holistic in what we're doing. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Question for the body is adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. I got you. If all the members voted, the clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 98 yeas, no nays. The BIR is adopted.
Move for final passage.
Question for the body is now final passage of HB 250. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 85 yeas, 0 nays. HB 250 passes.
Thank you,
Congratulations.
Speakers. Thank you, body.
Clerk, call the next bill in the special order calendar. Chair
On
recognizes
page-
Representative Baker. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
On page 12 of the calendar, House Bill number 190 with substitute by Representative Baker relating to the Railroad Modernization Act of 2019.
Representative Baker.
Thank you for the recognition, Mr. Speaker. Members, HB 190 is a renewal of the short line rail tax credit that was originally passed in 2019. This bill would simply move the bill, reauthorizing this, extend that date then, which would go to 2032 on this. This was renewed back in 2022. And then, so anyway, it's where this is now coming up for renewal again in 2027. With that, I would move for adoption of the BR. There will be a substitute that I'll mention.
Question for the body's adoption of the BR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 103 yeas, no nays. The BR is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there was a committee substitute, which this would simply remove any of what was proposed as an increase to tax credits or the cap. And so this puts it back exactly like it was, so it's simply reauthorizing the existing credits and the existing cap.
Question for the body's adoption of the substitute. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 102 yeas, no nays, and the substitute's been adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With that, Mr. Speaker, I would move for final passage as substituted.
Question for the body's final passage is a substitute of House Bill 190. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 103 yeas, no nays. HB 190 passes as substituted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Congratulations.
Thank you, members.
The clerk will call the next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 19 of the calendar, House Bill number 268 with substitute by Representative Ingram relating to government administration.
Chair recognizes Representative Ingram of Montgomery.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a public safety bill. This is a bill to be able to give the authorization to the 911 board to be able to monitor the calls that come in and give it a level of quality, and to make sure if there's any tools in their toolbox that needs to be updated, they'd be able to do that. It also monitors drop calls, unanswered calls. This is just a lifeline. When you call 911, you want to make sure that you get that quality of answering and make sure that everything is just the way it needs to be to save lives. This has been vetted by the 911 board. It is authorized by the 911 board and the director and the County Commission Association, and the lead municipality has no problems with the bill either. I ask for to adopt the substitute.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 97 yeas, 1 nay. The BIR is adopted.
We do have an amendment.
You need to adopt the
the
substitute
substitute
first. The
first.
question for the body is adoption of the substitute. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 95 yeas, no nays. The substitute has been adopted.
Mr. Speaker, we do have an amendment brought by Representative Underwood.
Chair recognizes Representative Underwood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The amendment is replace line 8 through 9 on page 1 with the following districts, and then replace line 65 on page 3 with the following time to process emergency calls in accordance. They were typographical errors, if I'm...
This is a friendly amendment. It's just a typo correction, and thank you for bringing that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is
Question
a
for the
friendly-
body is adoption of the amendment. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 98 yeas, no nays. The amendment is adopted.
Mr. Speaker, ask for the final passage as amended and as a substitute.
Chair recognizes Representative Morris of Montgomery.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With the gentleman here.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
Okay, we was rolling so fast. Can you bring it down for me just a little bit and give me a little insight of what are you trying to do?
Under the county 911 boards, there's really no monitoring on some dispatching, so like, to know if they've dropped any calls or not answered calls. In some areas, they may be needing, some more equipment or whatever the case may be, but this is just a bill to be able to make sure that the first call, when you call 911, that it is answered, and that there is the board wanted an umbrella to be able to, check and balances to make sure that everybody are getting the services in all the areas that are needed to be serviced.
So if, let's say you have a county or a municipal area, and they are answering the calls, and it's taking police time frame.
Nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with the response time. This is just make sure that that call is answered when you call. Nothing to do with the police on the other side. That has nothing to do with the police department on this at all. This is only for being able to get somebody on the call. That the 911, board wanted to make sure that that level of quality is there.
Okay, so if you make a call, they are collecting the data, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So if the data is showing that there's no answers or the time frame, what's the time frame? Do you know it? Like, is it a certain time frame, or they just not answering?
I think that's already in the statute. This is just give them the teeth to say, hey, y'all need to clean the act up, and this is what we can do to help you. It's more of an oversight. It's not we're going to put our foot on your throat and make it happen. It's just to being able to collect the data to make sure if you have an emergency at your house or in the county somewhere that it's responded, that they answer. Nothing to do with when that call is answered and the police showing up. This is the 911 answering a phone call.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Chair recognizes Representative Raftery from Jefferson. Chair recognizes Representative Bracy of Mobile.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With the gentleman yield?
Absolutely. For you.
See, look, Jimmy came by, gave you like a little high five or something just now. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Team building. So I have a bunch of questions.
I've got all the
about
time you want, and I'm here to answer. It's just about public safety. So no
and I
hidden
understand
agenda.
I'm for public safety as well, but I'm also for local control. And you know, you being a person that before you came up here, you were in local government.
I was.
And I was as well. And it just kind of give me pause whenever we see a situation where the state may be able to come into a situation and start kind of controlling what's going on a local level, whether it's the county or the city or whatever. I know when I was on the city council, and I know you were on the county commission, we would not want, I don't think either one of us would want the state coming in to kind of run our boards or tell us how to manage our business.
Well, I don't know. The County Commission Association is vetted this, and they've helped draft the bill. They work with the board, their board that falls under, I guess, their umbrella, and that, you know, this is a product, a finished product from them. This is their substitute.
Okay.
And
so what about the legal
what I
municipalities?
understand, the Sheriff's Association, what I understand that they're supportive with it. There was an amendment that came out of Mobile. That amendment that Underwood brought up a minute ago came from the pro tem. He just couldn't bring it because he was on the chair. As far as I know, you know, there may be some concerns on the original bill, but on this bill, after everybody's seen the substitute, I hadn't had any heartburn with it as far as I know. So
Okay,
this is about public safety and about being able to have a level of quality there for making sure that we get your people, your family taken care of, you taken care of. You know, we've had a couple of accidents in here that we hit close to home. We want to make sure that, you know, the response time is people are there to answer the phone, you know. And Saran Stacy, you remember when his family was in an accident? It went to a 911, then it was at another one, then it went to somewhere else, and there was a gap of time. So this is just a tool to be able to advance the quality and make sure that everybody comes together and we save lives. And that's what
Okay,
it's all about. Public safety is so important to both of us.
And I understand that. I'm just trying to get some clarity on this. So we have the state 911 board would step in?
That's it. That's this board that wrote this.
Okay.
Yes.
So
And the director is up in the gallery.
Okay. What's the efficiency of the state 911 board?
I didn't hear you.
The
I'm sorry.
efficiency. Are they very efficient?
You know, I would hope they would be. I think there's some good people on the board. I would think it would be.
So
But right now, the only people monitoring of quality is self-monitoring. And so there's really no teeth in this other than they're going to monitor the calls and see what they can do to help them, but there's really not a whole lot of teeth in it. But just, you know, this is just a layer that we can get to a little higher quality of
who would pay for that service? Let's say.
That's a good question.
See, I have a lot of cities. I have a lot of cities.
Okay.
In
So
my
that's a good
district.
question.
So,
So there's no cost on this.
Okay.
The equipment is already in place to do it. It's an AI system, and there's no cost to the board. There's no cost that's going to be pulled away from your 911, and there's no cost that's going to come out of the general fund.
So the AI system. Tell me about that.
You know,
so the AI system.
I'm going
would
to tell you
replace,
what I know about AI. You can put in a thimble and still have room enough for this building. I don't know anything about AI. I just know that the director and the board members are prepared to implement this to save lives.
Let's say that one of my cities, they're having issues with their 911 center. What would happen?
I don't know. You know, I don't know if there's a level of just poor performance. You would want that to be cleaned up. If there's a level of something that they need some equipment, or if they need some help, you know, with anything, whatever, to bring that up to that level of performance, to make sure that we save lives and answer a phone. You know, I'm not saying there's a problem.
But I'm saying, what does it look like? Does it look like, because I'm seeing like the AG's involved, you have all these different people involved. So does this look like we're gonna go in and put these, like, for instance, like under a receivership type of situation till we get them where they need to be? Or will the state come in and start taking over the calls? Will the state pull it and give it to the county?
So we have seen in this state in the last year, we've seen police departments fall and everybody was fired, including the fire chief, right? So the whole police department was demolished. So you need somebody to be able to pick up that receiver and answer that 911 call if the whole police department was gone, because those people still pay for services. They still pay, and all this money comes off of cell phones and landlines. They still deserve the quality of somebody answering
I agree.
the phone.
I agree with you
So,
that they deserve it. I'm just trying to figure
a
out
lot
the
of
steps of
these-
what happened. So if I'm in a small city,
Right.
and I'm running my small police department, and I have my small 911 operators, and I have all of this, but I'm not being effective.
Right.
What does that look like? Will the state come in and take over the
don't know
911
that-
calls? If they do, how long would they take
So
them
it's
over
not an
for?
immediate, what this bill does, and I don't know the time, but it's knowing coming in and we're going to take everybody out and replace you.
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing if they come and. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I just want to know what's the process and who pays for that. Will that just give the
process-
city off the hook, saying, well, we don't have to do 911 no more. The state's going to handle all of our 911 calls from now on.
So all that's up to the boards. You know, I don't know. I can't make that decision. It just gives them the teeth to be able to make sure that public safety is there. It gives them the teeth to be able to say, you deserve a call when you call 911, whatever that is. And this board, I don't know how they're appointed, but the county commission has a lot of authority over that. And I think the commissioners, maybe, state commissioners that appoint them, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't even know how that is, but I just know that board is put there for a reason. They're not elected. They're put there by people that are held accountable.
The county
They're gonna do the
911
right thing.
board or the state 911?
It's a state
911 board. So will this create like a major swell in calls going into the state 911 system?
I don't think it's going to make any difference, you know, on any kind of swell coming into the state 911. I mean, this is just them to be able to monitor every dispatch, to be able to make sure that those calls are being answered and people
Okay,
are
so
getting
this
to
is
the
to
light.
monitor the dispatch and not actually start taking the calls, the dispatch calls.
This is just monitoring the dispatch, not taking all the calls at all. They don't take any calls.
Okay,
This is just
I guess I'm trying to
monitoring
get
the
clarity because I only got 2 minutes. So just like an audit, this is like auditing the 911 system, but not
Basically,
going in
on
to
a
take
smaller
over.
level.
Okay,
Just
so this
a little bit of an oversight.
So would it be any type of state coming in to take over the
On
911
intervention,
system?
on intervention, kind of like what we do with our schools now, I guess, in case they're failing.
Right.
You would take over, and we would want that in our schools if they're failing to take over. I don't know that this has much teeth as the schools has, but it gives them to monitoring system to see where our weak problems are in the state.
Okay.
Because of public safety is so important.
So if the state take over, who's going to pay the bill?
So there is no other money that's needed in this, because when you're paying on the cell phone, let's say that district gets X amount of money, then that district doesn't take any money away from them. I mean, it's done by cell phones. So it's no extra money that goes in. It's going to cost the state any money. So it's all self-funded. So, you know, they're not going to lose any funding. They're not going to get any extra funding. They're just going to be there to be able to make sure that the calls are being monitored.
Okay, in the last 45 seconds, we talked about AI. So if the state come in and do an intervention and take over the 911 system, will that become like an E91 type system dealing with an AI operator?
Kind of
or
like
would it
in
be
your
like
district
a human
now.
operator?
I don't know of anybody that's going to be taken over, and I don't know of any problems that are out there now. This is a monitoring system, kind of like Pritchard is under Mobile now. You know, if it's nothing to do with anybody taking over anybody. It's
Pritchard
nothing
under
to do
Mobile.
with anybody intervention or merging or anything. It's the same way we've got with our schools. We didn't take it away from our schools. We go in and make sure that they have the tools in their toolbox to learn, to teach our kids. And this is about just public safety and saving lives. That's all that 911 board wants to do.
All right, thank you. And
Fine,
Pritchard is
gentlemen.
not under Mobile.
The chair recognizes Representative Rafferty of Jefferson.
All right, thank you for the recognition, Mr. Speaker.
Me and you forgot our pink, didn't we?
All right, well, you know, I tried to do a pink tie on here, but it looked a little bit like an Easter egg, a little bit, so I had to kind of back off from it. But so I just kind of want to follow up with some of the kind of things I was hearing here. I'm being convinced, you know, to vote for this bill right now. So I haven't decided my way, one way or another at this point.
It's about saving lives. Is all this bill is about.
Right. I guess I'm concerned about, you know, my city, my area kind of being targeted, and they really worked very hard to make sure. So I just want to make sure that there's no political motivation here, that that's definitely not the intention of the bill, and that there's no language in here that could be construed to make it
There's no
that way.
intention, no hidden agenda. When I was approached about this, it was the tools in the toolbox now with AI. AI is such a great tool. Why not use it to be able to monitor the calls coming in? It's no extra cost. It's just to make sure that we're saving lives.
Right. So I did see that. I want to get back to the cost thing, but I want to look at these metrics. The metrics right now, you say such as call volume, time to answer calls, unanswered calls, and dispatch response time.
Right.
I think there's some more that's kind of enumerated here on page 3. Is that correct?
That's right. Starting on line 63.
Now it says may collect data including, but would you not need all that data in order to kind of make a complete picture here?
May and shall, you know the difference between may and shall.
All right, we do. We've had those those parties before, for sure. I'm not trying to get in one of those.
This is not a mandatory thing.
Gotcha.
This is just a tool to make sure that, you know, if there's a call that comes in, it's all about saving lives. And I promise you, there's no hidden agenda here.
Okay.
No alternative motive. This is just a quality of life and to be able to save. And, you know, like in your district, you've got 30 You've got 30 districts of dispatchers in your district. They do a fabulous job.
Right.
I mean, but now that AI is here and there's other tools in the toolbox, why not make sure they keep that quality? And you know, when you call 911, it keeps these dispatchers too on their toes and know that they're not just self-monitored, that there is an oversight on the state to make sure that that quality, that they're with that everybody in this room on every phone is paying for that service.
Okay.
Every month. And why not have some kind of monitoring system over it? You know, why not make sure, just like we do on the schools,
right,
to make sure that we've got an oversight to make sure they stay there. And now that AI is here, you know, all they have to do is hit a button and put it in place. There's no cost.
Okay. One last question for you that I had here was dealing on page 4, or like on line 97, or I think about 108. So this is if they find deficiencies, they're confirmed through the audit, that there should be a remediation plan that prescribes to bring the district to an acceptable level of readiness, and that could include training requirements for the public safety telecommunicators, hiring additional public safety telecommunicators, upgrade of technology. I mean, that stuff sounds kind of expensive, so I was want to say like where we would see that. And I think you said self-funded earlier, and I kind of want to ask more clarity on that.
You know that we're getting a new area code in Montgomery.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's more phones, higher population, more volume, and that comes in more money. So the volume is there. There's no extra money needed out of the general fund. There's no extra money that's going to be taken away from any district. This is just self-funded. It just needs to be just like our education. It's just got to have some type of oversight to be able to make sure that that quality of life is there in public safety.
Okay, understood. All right. Thank you for taking the time to explain that to
Thank
me,
you.
and thank
Appreciate
you.
your questions.
Chair recognizes Representative Hassel of Montgomery.
I guess I was looking at this, and some of the questions I wanted to ask got answered.
Yes, sir.
By Representative Grayson. But will larger cities be penalized? Because with larger cities, you know, Mobile, Montgomery, Birmingham have a large volume of calls.
Right.
And one of the complaints that, you know, even that I heard from some people was like, look, well, I called 911, I couldn't get anybody. All right, and sometimes because of, you know, lack of staff and issues like that, right? So with the AG get involved and create this plan for the local districts.
So I don't think I think it would be a request from the 911 board. You know, this has nothing to do with Montgomery. There's no hidden agenda here.
What I'm saying is, well, in the bill it says if somebody make a complaint
if they
to
can
the
make
AG's
a complaint.
office, if it's fire department, or if somebody make a complaint to the AG's office, so he come in and audit the communication, the 911,
Right.
the local 911, right?
Yes, sir.
So if they audit this and they see an issue, if they see a problem, they say it is a lack of staff. They say you're supposed to have 50 employees, you only have 10. So what happened after that? If they need 30 more employees, do the AG office try to find employees to staff?
They would help whatever, if it was, I don't know if you're referring to the city of Montgomery or the county. This is more of a county 911, but it does have to do with all municipalities and that. So yes, but, you know, as far as being able to staff, I don't know that staff is the biggest part of it. It's just the answering the calls for the lifeline to be able to, if it was an emergency, if they answered the call or not. You know, if there was a call that came in, let's say there was 900 calls came in a week and only 300 were answered, then it would be a problem to you, it would be a problem to me, it'd be a problem to the family. But that's not happening that I know of anywhere. You know, now that AI is in place, they just want to advance the monitoring system up. And I guess with the AG being in it, they're the top cop, right?
Yeah.
And so there's got to be some kind of traction because the 911 board doesn't have any teeth to do anything, you know.
Oh, no, well, but in the bill, page 3, section E, it says, the Attorney General, based upon a complaint received concerning the performance of a local communication district, may refer the matter to the 911 board, which shall conduct a performance audit to review and evaluate the readiness of the district.
In the original bill, it said that if they did, that I think it was where the AG could act upon it, but they didn't want any of their, you know, authority taken away. So that is all into the authority of the 911. The AG doesn't have the authority.
That's right. So that's right. That's what it said. It refers to the 911 board. So if the board says that the city of Montgomery needs 20 more employees to have an accurate and efficient communication district, right?
Right.
And because I know for a fact that the city here, the city of Montgomery they raised the salary, they did recruitment process.
$10,000 bonus.
That's right, they gave bonus. So, but they still had a problem with employees wanting to do this job.
Well, see, the
so
911.
what would happen, and I didn't see it in the bill, but if they make a requirement after the audit and say the city of Montgomery need right now to have 20 employees.
So that would be something that they would work out internally. You know, the 911 board doesn't want to take over anybody. They don't have enough people to take it over. There's no takeover for them.
So this board is just going to recognize the issue.
Right. Just to make sure that the public safety is there in case somebody calls. This is just nothing targeted for anybody. This is just an oversight now that AI is here, that they can be able to push a button and be able to see where the weak links are. And we don't want any weak links in the state. But if they are a weak link, they can help, you know, weld that link back up to make it tight, to make sure that everybody is getting that level of 911 performance. And it's all a performance thing. It's not about a takeover.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I've got a concern if the AG go to the board says, right now the city of Montgomery need to have 20 employees for the communication district, for that communication piece. And I guess I'm trying to figure out, you get the information, you're going to get the report from the 911 board.
Well, they know now how many employees they got. They
I know
now.
and I guess that's what I'm saying. It's something
Because
in
they have to
place now.
do their certification through them. It's not about, I don't guess, in my opinion, it may be different, but in my opinion, it's not about how many employees you got. It's about the level of performance they're performing.
Well, because you said technology. Technology also can help in that aspect. But I guess, you know, and I'm gonna go through this again and look at it some more. But
I can tell you, there's no hidden agenda here. I'm just carrying this to help with the board, and it's to be able to monitor all of them. And it's, you know, just like I brought my bill about the pursuit bill, eluding police.
Yeah.
It's just about public safety to make sure that level is there.
Yeah. So you're trying to fill it. You feel like you're filling a gap in a sense.
And this wasn't my idea. This was just a combination of talking to people and asking them, what could we do to make sure that that level is there? Because, you know, somebody was telling me a while back that there was a truck broke down on the bridge going to Mobile, and they couldn't get anybody on the phone. You know, they had called and they got the wrong one. They went to the wrong tower, or wrong dispatch or something, and it could have caused a wreck. It was at night, you know. So just to make sure that AI is able to make sure it goes to the right area and make sure when it does go to that right area, they'd be able to talk.
They using AI now? Are they using, some places
I
use
don't-
AI?
Not for monitoring performance. I don't know that they use AI at all. I don't know that. I'm not on the board, but I know that this is something that they wanted to use to be able to monitor, to make sure the calls in that district was being answered, you know, and it's not about taking over. It's just say, what can we do to fix it? It's kind of like the school system. You know, we went to a school, that same thing that I was talking to Representative Bracey about, that we want to make sure that our schools are performing, and if they're not, then it may be a probational basis like we just went in for a couple of years. Now they're up and about, you know, now they're doing their thing. In the same way, they're not here to take over anything. They just want to make sure that level of public safety is.
The board is not going to mandate and say, City of Birmingham, you need to do this, or,
you know,
but they're going to just they'll do an audit, have a report, and say, to get this back to efficiency, you need to do this.
That's exactly where the target is.
Okay, all right, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Representative Moore of Jefferson. While she's making her way down, the chair would like to recognize the Chilton County leadership. They were here on the behalf, guests of Representative Smith and Representative Bedsole. If you're in the chamber, please stand and be recognized. Don't see them. Oh, all right. Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A few things.
Good morning.
I looked at what the board would be looking at for deficiencies
Yes, ma'am.
for 911 city, but it doesn't give what the limitation should be. How do I know I'm outside the realm and that the board itself need to, I guess, address it, but address it from the perspective that they make known what the problems are?
Yeah. Well, Ms. Mary, I don't know that those procedures are not already in place. That's a board issue, and this is just a monitoring issue. This is just to make sure
See,
that level of performance.
But see, this is the problem. This is the problem. We're going to have a 911 board going to collect data, including but not limited to all the following for each district in the state. What's the purpose of them collecting the data if when they collect the data, my district won't know until, I guess, after they've decided, and somebody's going to decide, you have reached this limit for not, say, responding to a call in a timely manner. See, you can't, we can't, if we're going to pass a bill like this for people to just collect data, well, the different systems themselves already have data on calls answered, time that it took to respond to it. So that bothers me when we continue to bring bills up where we don't have all of the information on how that new group that we're defining is going to function from day to day. You see where I'm coming from? That you tell me I'm gonna say 911 calls, time to answer the call. What's the limitation? When do I know that? And I could do some self-monitoring here. If I know within that board and they put out some type of formula to say how many calls I might be answering in an untimely fashion, then with all of these I can self-monitor to a certain degree. Once this board makes a report, what happens?
You know, that's up to the board. So when the board makes a report, it's just like keeping the grades on all the schools for the state. The state's got oversight to see what these schools are doing,
But the
right?
state gonna take you over if you ain't in compliance. This board it's just keeping data, passing it out for what? If a 911 system needs to have deficiencies, who helps them come into compliance, then compliance to what?
That's totally up to the board. I don't know.
Well, why are we passing this bill?
So that they can monitor it and we can find the weak.
But we need to know, if we passing a bill, we need to know what's going on.
Well,
I might not be in agreement with how many 911 calls they make in a timely manner. bills like this is frustrating because you come and you say this board is going to be monitoring this, or this new group we're going to have is monitoring this. But we as a legislature, what we hear is the group will make all of the limitations, and we passed it. And when our constituents start complaining to us, I think that I'm making my response in a timely manner. Then when they call us, we say, well, the board is the one that decided that, so what do you expect me to do? I think if we're going to do this, we ought to also come in and put some framework of limitations on what would be acceptable as far as the operations of a 911 system, what would be the limitation as far as them on the negative side for a 911 system. When that happens, and if a system is not functioning up to par and needs some help to get there, where does that funding come from? Does the board have the opportunity, will we give the board a budget to be able, since they're gonna keep the data to tell a 911 system whether it's functioning in a negative manner? So will they be able to go in and make any corrections or help them make the corrections?
So there's no money cost in this. They're self-funding, and they're not taking any money away from any of the...
But if you're gonna keep data on somebody, and you used the school district as an example, when the state keeps its data on every school district, if that school district is failing, the state and those school districts know also in advance what the limitation on the reading scores, what's the limitation on the math score.
And that's good, we know that.
Yeah, but this board need to have the same thing. And when those school districts are not performing properly, the state also has a mechanism to go into those school districts to correct whatever the deficiencies are. This board doesn't have that. So what is the purpose of it collecting all of this data when in many cases some of these districts that will have or probably will have deficiencies will not have the funds to correct them? So if they're not able to be funded to correct them, and the state is putting in place a board to say this is where you're running short on, but we don't have no help for you. So what is the purpose of identifying that when that 911 district does not have the funding to address the issues that this board is going to bring to them? I think that we're failing them if we put something in place that you're saying is going to improve safety, but when this board identifies deficiencies in a 911 system, there is no recourse if that system doesn't have the funding. To give you an example, because I've seen over time where people might complain in some district that the response of the ambulance is long. And I think recently, within the last few months, one district's problem was the one ambulance they had was broke down. So yeah, the response was long, but is there any recourse from a state perspective if we put this board in place that we could go in to assist that small district with either repairing that ambulance or buying them a new one so that they can improve their response time? But if we just collected a board just to do data and we have no way of assisting those areas that's falling short, then I don't understand the purpose to have this board in place just to have it. And you could tell me I got a problem, but you have no way of helping me with my problem. I don't see the advantage to all of our 911 systems across the state if we don't have any way of helping them to correct whatever their deficiencies are.
I have complete confidence in the board, the director, the AG, the County Commission Association, the lead, whoever has blessed this thing, and I appreciate their knowledge, and I appreciate them coming back and bringing a substitute to correct it, to be able to...
But still, at the end of the day, I can appreciate all of them too. But if you don't have the funds, and the state is going to tell me I got a board that's monitoring you on this, but I have a deficiency. And in my little small area, I do not have money. My county don't have the monies to help me. The state is not putting in place anything to help me. So what is the purpose of you telling me my deficiencies? Then once you are notified, a 911 system is notified of its deficiencies, will the board put in place a time factor where that deficiency must be corrected?
Well, every one of them is funded, and there's no extra money that needs to be put in place. And it's about answering the phone, not that ambulance showing up. I think that's a different subject.
Listen to what you just said.
So that it's funded.
Just listen to what you just said,
about the
man.
call
I don't think you heard yourself. It's about answering the phone, not about the ambulance showing up.
Well, that's what.
So
this
if I
bill
don't
is-
answer the phone, the ambulance is not gonna show up.
That's what this bill is about, the call, to coming in, to make sure that somebody answers that
Man, listen here. I'm not gonna go over and over because let me tell you what. When you got a bill on the floor and you haven't prepared for it, and all the people who are agreeing with you, they're agreeing with you because you missed the legislator. And whoever gave you the complaint when you went
Time
to
has
talk to
expired. The chair
Thank you,
recognizes
Mr.
Representative Jones of Mobile. While we're waiting for him, the chair would like to recognize the family of our clerk, Nolan Geiger, who's with us in the gallery. Please stand to be recognized. Oh, look at that. Welcome to the Alabama House of Representatives.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The gentleman yield.
Absolutely. Mayor.
As I've been listening to the discussion about 911 centers, I don't think there's any cookie cutter approach to 911. Various areas handle it different. We have a countywide 911 system. That primary function is dispatch.
And it does a great job.
Most of them are. They're dispatch. As it relates to the response time of those jurisdictions, the problem with response has to do with the jurisdiction, not 911.
And this doesn't have to do response time. It's just about monitoring the first call.
Basically, what I'm saying is that if we're going to judge 911 systems efficiency, it's whether they answer the call and dispatched it in a timely manner.
That's all this is. That's all it is.
Right. So I was just saying that, and then there's much smaller systems. Where a city might have a system. In a countywide system, the system actually answers all 911 calls.
Yes, sir.
And dispatch them to the appropriate municipality or jurisdiction or volunteer fire department or whomever. So I think that one of the things that, and I, quite frankly, the only question I really had about it is the DA's involvement. I didn't quite understand that.
Well, I think the only reason the DA is involved on that is just to have a little teeth, just to say, if you can't get a hold of the 911 board or whatever, this is the top cop. A lot of the calls, a lot of that stuff is monitored by the AG. And, it's just, I don't know if it's statute or what it is, but that's just the way that it was agreed
I
upon.
thought the 911 systems were put together to make a central dispatch station for emergencies.
Yes, sir.
And then they funnel them out to the jurisdiction. And I would tell you that the system we have in Mobile, all the data you asked them for, they can give it to you now.
Yes.
They can tell you what calls are made to what jurisdiction, all of
Y'all are the model for the state.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you because you were part of that when you were the mayor down there putting that together. And I really appreciate that. If it was like that throughout the state, and I don't know of any part of the state that has an issue, it may be to where like Representative Kenyatta came up. It may be a personnel issue. If that's the case, let's see what we can do to help them. Let's incentivize people to come to work on that. Or if it's equipment, maybe we can get them, some updated equipment. But, you deserve it. My family deserves it. I deserve it. Everybody in this room and their family deserve to be able to, if they call 911, to be able to get that professional answer and to be able to push a button and get somebody sent out, And that's what all this is about. It's public safety, saving lives. And it's not a hidden agenda at all. It's just to make sure that everybody is performing as good as your district.
Well, I think that the organization of it is quite important. How it's organized, how it's managed, and how it's really accountable to everyone in the system. And I think that's obviously the approach you're trying to get to, making sure that all the systems are accountable.
That's right. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Chair recognizes Representative England of Tuscaloosa.
Thank you for the recognition. Just real quick, because, you know, if I'm not mistaken, most municipalities, county governments or whatever, they really don't have any control over the money that's appropriated to them for E911, right?
How is that done, England? Is that done by population? I'm not sure.
Because I know,
They get,
because I know we collect a fee, and I think that fee goes to the E911 board, and then the E911 board, like over state board, then distributes that money out to every E911 board and whatever.
is that done if the money, if the phone is from here, it goes to that district? Is that right?
I think so.
Okay.
And
I don't know either.
I don't know. And I
meant to ask that question.
Because what I wanted, because what I do know is, let's just say you are organized in a county where you've got the county operation and the city operation housed in the same location. Right? But let's just say the city decides that this operation is inefficient, it's ineffective, or whatever. If that municipality or county government or whatever, however they're organized, if they divest and they move and try to create their own system,
right,
the money doesn't follow them. The money will still go to the county organization that's created by the statute, if I'm not mistaken. So, and that's the question I really wanted to ask is like, and maybe I'll just ask the E911 folks this. First and foremost, how was the money collected? What's the formula for distribution? And then also, what happens if someone decides, like a municipality decides that they no longer want to participate with the statutorily created entity and make their own? Because if from what I understand right now, if that happens, let's just say let's say Montgomery County had a countywide E911 system, and the city was a part of it, and the city was like, we're carrying too much of the load, so we're going to create our own. The money wouldn't follow them out of that organization. They would actually be on their own and having to fund themselves.
And I think the way I would think, and I don't know, and this is a guess, but if I was to make an educated guess, let's just say Montgomery County decided not to do it anymore and they want to give it to the city, I would say that money would follow to the city. They would get the county's money. And it would make more sense for the city to do it because there's 90% of the population is inside the jurisdiction, in the city limits. Plus they've got a 911 call center that is technology with EMA, and it's just it's got, the building and could withstand a hurricane, a tornado or whatever,
Right.
because it's just a brand new building. So if they wanted to do that and they agreed upon, I would bet that the money would follow it. This is not about a takeover. This is just making sure that the quality is there.
Because what I need to kind of figure out is, let's just say you were a city and you were in a E911 organization that was created as a result of the statute that we passed several years ago that required these things to be created to kind of house these things, to house these entities together across the state.
Right.
So if you're involved in it and you say, well, the city itself is carrying too much of the burden, we're going to be measured by this new legislation against our response times, but we're carrying a large percentage of the burden, including the county's response too. And so because of this new standard, we decide, well, it'd be better for us to just separate and do our own.
Mm-hmm.
If you move away from that entity, you are on your own. According to the state statute, you're essentially on your own at that point, and you're going to have to pay for whatever
cost is required.
Whatever cost is required to operate your own 911 system. So if there is now going to be a legislation that says we're going to measure you, and the potential is if your response times aren't good or whatever, but you're carrying a wide burden, and you say, well, I'm not going to do that part anymore because of this statute. Well, I want to make sure that if you divest, like you leave and you create your own,
That you're still monitored.
that you're still monitored, A, but B, also that the money that was flowing through from the E911 board to whatever organization that is also follows you out to help you fund
And I don't
whatever
know.
E911.
Yeah, and I
Because
don't-
again, if I'm a city and I decide to do this, the reason I'm doing it is because I want to increase my response time. I want to be more effective and more efficient so I don't get caught up in whatever this is. But again, and I don't know if this necessarily deals with what you're trying to deal with right now, but what I guess I'm going to have to ask those folks to kind of get a better idea of A, what the statute requires, B, how that money's distributed, and then C, if somebody decides as a result, I need to.
And the director is in the gallery, and while we're talking, I'm sure there's another light on. You want to go talk to her and come back, but I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the dialogue, and we've been working on this for a while, and all it's about is public safety and saving lives, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And you bring up a valid point. If somebody was to leave, are they going to be monitored? I would say that it would be problematic for another dispatch to open up and have the equipment and the training to be certified and to give up that funding for what, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, why would they want to do that? Because it's not $1 million or $2 million coming into a larger municipality. It's, you know, maybe 8 or 10 million or more, you know?
And also, most cities probably wouldn't want to engage in a practice that's going to cost them money if they could, you know, fold in with somebody else and get more bang for that dollar. But just fundamental questions, and I'll ask those folks.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the concept and what you're trying to do, though.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you for the question.
Chair recognizes Representative Reynolds of Madison.
And it's her.
And while we're waiting on him to come down, the Coleman delegation would like to recognize Visitor Heath Mayherg, a well-respected and prominent attorney from Coleman, Alabama. Please stand to be recognized. Welcome. Welcome to the Alabama House of Representatives. Chair would like to further recognize the Central Alabama Electric Cooperative from Elmore, Otago counties. They are guests of Representative Studs, Starnes, Lawrence, Smith, and Ingram. Please stand to be recognized. Welcome to the Alabama House of Representatives. Representative Reynolds, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Chairman, appreciate you bringing this bill. It's about accountability. As you said earlier, it's about saving lives where minutes matter when that call comes in. And certainly if there's any delay in that function, then obviously we were putting people at risk. Also appreciate the fact that you've worked with our local 911 boards. I was at a budget meeting, so I'm not sure. You have a sub, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Committee sub, and that sub's going to address where there was some concern about taking the power away from the local 911 boards, but you have gone back and worked with those and ensure that the state 911 board does have a mechanism to which they can engage in investigation or oversight of that, but we still keep the authority in our local boards as well, correct?
Yes, sir. We are.
Very
yes,
good.
sir.
Good.
It
I
stays with
appreciate
them.
your work. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Chairman. Thank you.
Question for the body's final passage of HB 268. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 100 yeas, no nays. HB 268 passes.
Thank you,
Clerk,
Mr.
call the
Speaker.
next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 35 of the calendar, House Bill number 227 with substitute by Representative Hill relating to the Administrative Office of Courts.
Chair recognizes Representative Faulkner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, the Administrative Office of Courts is responsible for the operation of the Judicial College. The Judicial College is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has operated under the umbrella of AOC since the 1980s. Its sole purpose, as y'all probably know, is to support and facilitate education and training for judges, circuit clerks, and court personnel across all 67 counties. What this does is it provides clear statutory authorization for a nonprofit that has already been standard practice of the AOC to utilize staff and administrative resources to support the Judicial College's operations. Specifically, this bill would authorize the Judicial College to hold non-public funds, that's registration fees for conferences and the like, and transfer state funds to support judicial education. The bill does have a sub, but I'll talk about that in a moment. And if there's no questions on the bill as it is without the sub, I would move for the BIR.
Chair recognizes Representative Moore of Jefferson. Question for the body's adoption of the BR HB 227. The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Have all the members voted? The clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 102 yeas, no nays. The BR is adopted.
So, Mr. Speaker, there is a substitute, and so I'll briefly explain what the substitute does. The substitute would do three things. It would provide that any donation or sponsorships received that exceed $2,500 have to be disclosed. This furthers the Chief Justice and AOC's commitment to transparency. It provides that any donations or sponsorships received cannot be conditioned on their use being directed to a particular judge or a group of judges or directed to be used for a particular purpose. It adds the circuit clerks to the list since the Judicial College supports the circuit clerks as well, and it exempts the Judicial College from the state sales and use taxes. That's what the substitute does from the committee substitute. With that, I would move, if there's no questions on the substitute, I'd move for its adoption.
Ms. Moore, do you seek recognition to speak on the substitute of this bill? Chair recognizes you for the purpose of speaking on the substitute of House Bill 227.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, we're in a democracy. We live in a democracy. Historically, we've been able to speak twice on a bill. And because you don't like what someone has to say, should not be the reason a person can't speak. I had additional questions on the previous bill that I want to know. If a person if a 911 system goes in remediation, who pays for the remediation? There was nothing in the bill to do that. But we live in a democracy, and I understand that people like yourself want to remove that democracy and create a dictatorship. But we shall overcome that, Mr. Speaker. You know, it's my right to speak. I was elected to fight for the people in my district, and I refuse to give that right up. You got a good bill.
Thank you, Representative.
Question for the body's adoption of the substitute HB 227. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Have all the members voted? Clerk will lock the machine and record the vote. 103 yeas, no nays. The substitute is adopted.
If no further question, Mr. Speaker, I'd move for final passage as substituted.
Question for the body is final passage as substituted. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 102 yeas, no nays. The bill passes. Congratulations, Mr. Faulkner. Clerk will call the next bill on the special order calendar.
Thank you, sir.
On page 7 of the calendar, House Bill number 213 by Representative Lomax relating to the Alabama State Port Authority.
Chair recognizes Representative Lomax.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is for the Alabama Port Authority. It would eliminate state from the Alabama State Port Authority's legal name. It updates the legal name to align with the branded name that they now use, which is the Alabama Port Authority. With that, I'd ask for the BIR.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 105 yeas, no nays. The BR is adopted.
Mr. Speaker, I do believe we have an amendment.
Clerk will receive the amendment.
Amendment 2, House Bill number 213 by Representative Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment replaces line 28 on page 1 with the following: Code of Alabama 1975 to terminate the Alabama Port Authority. Replace line 34 on page 2 with the following: Port Authority hereinafter sometimes referred to as the. Replace line 54 on page 2 with the following: which established the Alabama Port Authority is repealed, thereby terminating the Alabama Port Authority because.
Thank you, Representative Brown. I see this as favorable.
Question for the body's adoption of the amendment. The clerk will lock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 100 yeas, no nays, and the amendment is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I ask for final passage as amended.
Question for the body. Clerk will lock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 105 yeas, no nays. HB 213 passes as amended. Clerk, call the next bill in the
Thank
special
you.
order calendar.
On page 44 of the calendar, House Bill number 329 with substitute by Representative Faulkner relating to education.
Chair recognizes Representative Faulkner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this is a bill we passed last year out of this body. Just unfortunately didn't get on the Senate calendar there at the end. It codifies the state board's action, the State Board of Education's action, that makes taking a computer science course a graduation requirement by the 2031-2032 school year. It adds AI and other emerging technologies into the definition of computer science. That's what that does, and then I can tell you what the substitute does after we get the adoption of the BIR.
Question for the body's adoption of the BR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 102 yeas, no nays. The BR is adopted. Question for the body's adoption of the substitute.
I apologize. Yes, sir. The substitute, Mr. Speaker, clarifies that a department-approved course with embedded computer science skill and experiences will count towards the graduation requirement. It makes clear that computer science is not meant to be a college and career readiness indicator by itself. It can be with other things, but it's not by itself. That's what the committee substitute does. With that, I'd move for the adoption of the substitute.
Question for the body's adoption of the substitute. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 102 yeas, no nays. The substitute's been adopted.
And if no further questions, I move for final passage.
Question for the body's final passage of HB 329 is substituted. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 100 yeas, no nays. HB 329 passes. Clerk, call the next bill on the
Thank you,
special
Mr.
order
Speaker.
calendar.
On page 30 of the calendar, House Bill number 318 by Representative Keel relating to traffic infractions.
Chair recognizes Representative Keel of Franklin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill creates a notification system that parents can opt into to receive notifications if their child receives a traffic violation. We passed this bill through the House the last couple of years, a similar bill with the same idea, but ALEA has since been able to develop a software solution to this that allows parents to opt in online to participate in this. The law enforcement officer on the side of the road does not have to do anything in this bill, and so that's a drastic change from what we passed before. Move the BIR.
Chair recognizes Representative Gavan of Jefferson.
just came back in. What does this bill do? I'm sorry.
So if a child receives a traffic violation, the parent can be notified by ALEA if they receive a violation.
Is there a fiscal note on this bill?
It's $100,000.
It's $100,000. And so that just requires them to do a next step, just a notification. And how are the parents notified?
The parent can log on to the new portal that will be developed. They can log on with their driver's license, insert their child's learner's permit or driver's license information, and that will allow them to opt into that if,
So we
if
can
that
get
driver's
a
license.
portal for $100,000 to get a portal in place for the purpose of reporting or making it available for a parent to be able to log into, and I'm assuming they're logging into the purpose of seeing whether or not their child has received some type of traffic violation or arrest or what have you.
I think they already have the ability to log, or we have the ability to log in to something there, but this will allow you to access that information.
To access it. That's the point. So it's just $100,000, but ALEA can't figure out a way, myself and another representative who just so happens to be a Republican, over the last few years have been trying to figure out a way to create a domestic violence registry, but it's almost $1 million plus for a system that would create a mechanism to create a DV registry, but we can figure out a way to get a $100,000 system in place, a portal to log in. And I would think being able to log into a system that if someone wants to check, they can see the names of those domestic violence offenders in the portal, no differently than a portal that is set up for parents to be able to log into and to actually see what those infractions are. So I'm hoping that if anyone over there in Glory Land is listening, that they will go back and maybe figure out a way to see what we can do to effectuate a system for domestic violence, which is one of the highest, I wouldn't say not highest crimes, but most committed crimes are pretty much in the state of Alabama, really throughout the country. And it continues to rise and rise and rise and rise and rise. And the more bills we pass, it seems like it's for naught. But I do believe if we create a registry where folks' names will start popping up in a system, but surely with the erudite, and I'm saying erudite men, knowledgeable men and women in ALEA, and for those who do not know what that means, it means exceedingly intelligent, intellectual people, very, very smart, beyond average people. I used that word down here a few years ago, and somebody said, I said the man was a lie. I said, no, I said he had a erudite. He was a erudite, whatever the profession that he was in. It's called a Webster's Dictionary and a thesaurus, antonyms and synonyms. So with that being said, hopefully someone over there in ALEA will give some more consideration as well as respect to the sponsor or sponsors with regards to this issue, as they have done in the past, instead of trying to run from their responsibilities to try to come up with a common sense plan how to make legislation work. Because I just don't want to believe that with all of the smart people over there, we cannot formulate a plan for a domestic violence registry here in the state of Alabama. Now, if it's where ALEA doesn't care about domestic violence, that's fine. It may be one of those things. Most of the time, state troopers are on the road. They're not necessarily in the neighborhoods. So I would like to be able to have something with regards to that on the books. I have no problem with your bill. But since I did want to just talk about the fact that they were able to figure out a $100,000 fiscal note for information to be uploaded into a portal or a portal that already exists, and parents can then go into the portal. Hopefully someone over there, and I'm sure somebody is listening, as they usually are, will do their due diligence to see what we can do to effectuate this bill. I appreciate the opportunity and thank you for this bill.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Travis of Hale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, gentlemen,
Yes.
the question I had in reference in dealing with this bill is, do you know how quickly would these would be able to identify, let the parents know? And the reason I'm saying it, I had a daughter and she came home and of course got a speeding ticket, but all during the time home visit, she didn't tell me about it, but then of course afterwards, she back where she was, and she kind of like, oh, Daddy, I got the speeding ticket on the way visiting you and everything. So, she got a speeding ticket the way visiting me. So I guess my sympathy. But I guess the question is, and then will it also notify folks if they just get like a warning ticket? Will that be part of the process?
I think it'll be just a violation. And so if they get a real ticket, and it should be immediately because it is a electronic.
Okay.
When it goes in, and if you have opted into that, you've signed up for it, it should be electronic like that. So,
Okay. And that's a good bill, like I said, and that was all the reason because, my children now past that age, but, the standpoint, but it is good, because even like yourselves, the issue, to get a ticket like speed, of course you got safe driving school they can do, but it's also an opportunity to talk about, let's make sure we that because, unless you want to start paying the increased insurance and stuff,
Sure.
and all that could come from that. So I appreciate it, you for bringing this bill. It's a good bill.
Thank
Look
you.
forward. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Question for the body is adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 103 yeas, no nays. The BIR is adopted.
Move final passage.
Question for the body's final passage of HB 318. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. If all the members voted, clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 103 yeas, no nay, 1 nay, and HB 318 passes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Clerk, call the next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 27 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 109 by Senator Elliott relating to motor vehicles.
She recognizes Representative Rafferty of Jefferson.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. What SB 109 does is it defines and regulates peer-to-peer car sharing industry. Peer-to-peer car sharing has emerged over the past few years, and it's a way for individual car owners to make extra money from an asset that they already own. If you're familiar with the Airbnb, it's kind of like the Airbnb of cars. You can do it in Alabama right now, but currently there's no regulations, requirements as far as that goes. So this bill does three things: defines the car sharing industry in Alabama, outlines insurance and liability requirements, and makes a clear distinction between citizens monetizing the asset versus car and corporate rental car companies. Now, this bill has been a multi-year negotiations that's included the Department of Revenue, the trial lawyers, major rental or car companies, airport authorities, insurance associations, as well as the Jefferson County, the BJCC, to make sure that the tax applies to peer-to-peer sharing services. Now, I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all might have, but for right now, I'd like to go on and ask for the BIR.
Question for the body is adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 97 yeas, 5 nays, and the BIR is adopted.
All right.
Thank you for the recognition, Mr.
Yeah,
Speaker.
absolutely.
Well, thank you for yielding.
Thanks for the questions.
Just like to know, what problem are we really solving here?
Mm-hmm. So what?
What problem are we solving?
Oh, what problem are we solving with this particular bill? So right now, this industry is operating here in Alabama, but there's no regulations, insurance standards for it. There's no distinction between how the taxes work with it. How do you distinguish a peer-to-peer car? They pay a tax on their driver's license, on their tags every year. Rental car companies do not. It does not make a distinction there, so this just makes it clear in the statute as far as that goes. So the problem is that it's an emerging industry that needs regulation, and that wants to be regulated, and that this is the regulation that's been worked out over multiple years among all these different stakeholders that came to the table to make sure that this bill worked and was fair.
Okay, so right now, if I wanted to rent my truck to another individual, I could just work it on an agreement.
I mean, it would be, so right now there's an app base called Turo.
All right, so is this is structured for the app-based? Or
Yes.
Because, but okay, so, but say there's somebody in the neighbor, say there's a neighbor that wants to rent my truck for a weekend.
Right.
Or a week.
Yep.
To haul something. So now am I under this regulation?
Right.
I am?
So, no, I mean, you have to sign up for it, then there are specific insurance requirements that would have to be done there too.
Right.
And those are outlined on page 6, which I can enumerate those if you would like me to.
Okay, well, not yet. So what I'm trying to get at is if my neighbor says for $200 I'll rent your truck for a week, and I say, okay.
So that goes back to the definitions, which is on page 4, and that's where we're actually defining what the peer-to-peer car sharing program is. Okay,
but that's not a part of a peer-to-peer program. That's just me.
No, peer-to-peer car sharing. It's defined in here.
Okay.
So this is the authorized use of a vehicle by an individual other than the vehicle's car owner through a peer-to-peer car sharing program. The term does not include any of the following. And then it lists off a couple of things there, such as rental cars, leasing transaction, hiring, leasing, renting a motor vehicle under the rental agreement. Then the next definition is peer-to-peer car sharing program, a business platform that connects vehicle owners with drivers to enable the sharing of vehicles for financial consideration. The term does not include any of the following. A person engaging and continuing within the state. Well,
right.
We can get into the technicalities there too if you'd like to, but it's clearly defined here as far as what it is, and it would have to be through that app-based platform. As I'm seeing here on this.
Are we taxing this platform right now, the peer-to-peer?
There's one that I know of for sure. I'm sure there's other emerging competition there, but one of them is called Turo.
Okay.
So you can look it up on your phone. I think it's an app. It's not something I've done before, but I have known that people who have done it before.
Right. So right now, if somebody, without this regulation, if somebody in Alabama rents a car via one of these apps, are they being taxed?
Right. Well, that's where there's some ambiguity. That's where there's some problems there, and that's why we needed to get this all sorted out.
So then after this bill, for sure they're going to get taxed. The state will get a portion of this rental fee, and
yes, yeah, everyone's paying taxes. It just makes sure that how the taxes work up, right? So the thing is, a rental car company does not pay like a yearly tax on that vehicle like you would for your truck. Every year, depending on your last name, you have to renew your tag. So this would say that is your tax, so you wouldn't be double taxed. But everyone is taxed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So I guess the one thing is that I never heard that we were, users of the app were experiencing problems or,
It's not about that. It's about how they can start operating more here in the state of Alabama with the appropriate regulations, with the appropriate insurance coverage, and making sure everyone's getting taxed, but not double taxed and fairly taxed.
So right now, if you use the app, it's possible that you rent a car from another individual, but they may not have the appropriate insurance.
So what?
So right now, without this regulation, if somebody's renting a vehicle from somebody else through one of these apps, there's a possibility they're not properly insured. The vehicle isn't properly insured. That's a possibility?
I reckon that might be a possibility, or their insurance company might be a little, what's going on here? If if a stranger ends up wrecking the car. I'm not sure how that would be working right now. I just know that the problem is that there's not enough kind of guidance there to kind of guide moving forward and allowing these industries and allowing private individuals with POVs, privately owned vehicles, to be able to participate in this and make money off of an asset that's considered a depreciating asset, right? That's and seeing if they can do it that way. So,
What's the fiscal note for the state on this?
Lord, I don't have that on me. Can I get the fiscal note? Somebody. We're looking up that for you right now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Question for the body's final. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no. I'm still giving this fiscal note here. So SB 109, as passed the Senate, would reduce rental and lease tax receipts to the state general fund by an undetermined amount, dependent upon the gross proceeds exempted by this bill from peer-to-peer car sharing program transactions, where the shared vehicle was subject to sales and use taxes in the jurisdiction in which the vehicle owned purchased the vehicle at initial titling and registration in Alabama. This bill would also reduce receipts to any local government that levies a rental or lease tax that parallels the state tax by an undetermined amount dependent on the gross proceeds exempted to the same provision from transactions in the respective county or municipality.
Okay, thank you for answering my questions. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the recognition.
Cheers. Thank you.
Now the question for the body is final passage of SB 109. The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Wait a minute. Lock the machine. Record the votes. 89 yeas, 7 nays. HB 109 passes. Clerk, call the next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 47 of the calendar, House Bill number 323 by Representative Parker Moore, relating to state military.
Chair recognizes Representative Moore of Morgan County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. HB 323 is part of our military package bills that simply clarifies the order of procedures for our state awards and medals that are given from the governor and the adjutant general. Mr. Speaker, if there are no questions, I call for the BIR.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 103 yeas, no nays. The BIR is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I call for final passage.
Question for the body's final passage of HB 323. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 104 yeas, no nays. HB 233 passes. 323, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, body.
Clerk, call the next bill in the special order calendar.
On page 30 of the calendar, House Bill number 253 by Representative Wharton, relating to license plates.
Chair recognizes Representative Wharton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. HB 253, I think we've passed out of here 3 times, and hopefully we can get it through the Senate this time. But all we're doing is raising the fee for firefighter tag from $1 to $10. And with that, I ask for the BIR.
Question for the body's adoption of the BIR. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 98 yeas, 2 nays. The BIR is adopted.
With that, I ask for final passage.
Question for the body's final passage of HB 253. The clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote.
The firefighters want this.
Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 92 yeas, 3 nays. The bill passes. The chair would like to recognize the gentleman from Lee County, Mr. Lovin. Chairman Lovin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll do this the best I can, but based on watching the master of it, I move the House stand adjourned.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes clearly have it. We are adjourned.